Hi Year 12. Today's video is going to have a look at 1D and it's going to be looking at solving problems involving APs and GPs. So if you're not sure what an AP or a GP is, that means you need to go back and have a look at exercise 1B and 1C. APs are arithmetic progressions, GPs are geometric progressions. To identify if the sequence is an AP or a GP, because sometimes they're neither, remember that an AP will change by a constant difference. So you're adding or subtracting the same amount as you go along. And a GP will change by a constant ratio, as in we will be dividing, or generally we'll just say multiplying by a particular amount as we move along. If a sequence is an AP for the numbers A, B, and C, then we'd say B minus A equals C minus B. We looked previously at term 2 minus term 1 equals term 3 minus term 2. So they're just written in terms of A and B. If it's a GP for those same numbers, we'd say B on A equals C on B. Or term 2 divided by term 1 equals term 3 divided by term 2, which is how we did it. But we could write them like that as well. Many problems with APs and GPs require the use of simultaneous equations. And I know you all love your simultaneous equations, but you are good at them. So you're going to persist with this. And they're best solved by elimination, not substitution. But you can do them either way. I like substitution a little bit. APs may eliminate A using subtraction, while GPs would use division. But let's have a look at the questions below and see how we could go. Okay. It's telling us that the third term of an AP is 16. So that's over here in purple. So we've got an AP, term 3 is 16, and the 12th term is 79. And the 12th term is 79. Find the 41st term. So here they've told us it's an AP, so we don't need to go and test for that. So what I've done is written down the formula here for the term of an AP, which is on your formula sheet. So Tn is A plus N minus 1D. We know from this first one here that term 3 is 16. So 16 equals A plus 3 minus 1 is 2 times D. So we don't know A and D. We're going to find them out. Using our term 12 is 79, we can pop 79 in our term N part. And this equals A plus N minus 1, or 12 minus 1, which is 11, D. So we have two equations. Now, it says up above we could use elimination. You could do that and you could add this equation to this one. I didn't do it that way, but you could. So if you want to do it that way, I want you to pause the video and have a look at equation 1 and equation 2. We're going to go this one, take away this one, or this one, take away this one. I did substitution only because that's how I like to do it. 16 minus 2D equals 8. And we can substitute this one into this one. So you've got two options. And you should be quite familiar with those now. So I have gone and said, let's sub 1 into 2. So I get 79 is 16 minus 2D plus 11D. 63, therefore, I've taken 16 from both sides, equals 9D. So D is 7. So you would have got that if you had added or subtracted your equations anyway. Now sub this D equals 7 into one of those first two equations. I popped it into 1. And I got 16 minus 2 times 7. Is A, and that is equal to 2. It said find the 41st term. So we now have D is 7, A is 2. So term 41 is A plus N minus 1, which is 40, times D, which gives me 282. So the 41st term is 282. Fairly straightforward. I think you guys will be really good at that because you've done lots of simultaneous equations for the last 3 years. Let's look at number 2. Question 2 says, find the first term A and the common ratio R of a GP. So they've told us it's a GP. We don't need to test. In that GP, the 4th term is 6 and the 7th term is 162. So we want to find A and R. It's a GP. We know term 4 is 6 and term 7 is 162. I like to write it out like this because if you write it in a maths language, it's a lot easier to convert that over into an equation. It said it was a GP. So this is our formula for the term of a GP. Term 4 equals, we've got A times R to the 4 minus 1, which is 3, and that equals 6. Popping the second one in. Term 7 is A times R to the 7 minus 1, which is 6, which equals 162. We could do this a variety of different ways, but here's our first equation, here's our second. What I did was rearrange our first one here, and I divided both sides by r to the 3, so I got a is 6 on r to the 3. Then I subbed that into T7 over here. So where there was an a, I popped in 6 over r to the 3, and I had that times by that r6, which is over here. So here's my equation. This r3 and this r6 can cancel down. 6 minus 3 is 3. There's that 3 there. So 6 r to the 3 is 162. Divide by 6. I get r to the 3 is 27. Or r cubed, sorry if you want to call it that. Take the cubed root of 27 and I will get myself the value of 3. That's my first answer. It also wanted me to get a. I can pop that back into one of those two equations. So now I find a. A is 6 on r to the power of 3. A is 6 on 27, which breaks down to be 2/9. Please don't write it as a decimal. I think it's important to leave it as a fraction because we could round the decimal and then make an error. So let's always try and leave it as a fraction. That's all the working out was on for that one. Okay, so I want you to go and look at 1D and see if you can apply some of the same information we've looked at to those questions.